I have a van lineup, I have a 4-car line.
No.
Talk about 3 or 4 vans there and see,
Well,
can
no,
you
that's
pick
how
out
they
the van?
matched the color, was because they said, is this the color you were describing? And she said, yeah, it was the color. But so she actually didn't know that this, manhunt was happening for a few days.
Was this daytime, by the way, or nighttime?
It was morning.
It was in the morning. But I thought she didn't report this for weeks.
Well, that was it. She didn't know it was happening, so she didn't report it. I think it was like a week and a half after.
Something like that. Okay.
And her story was, I guess, corroborated kind of by a newspaper boy who was delivering. So it was in the early morning. He was delivering, but he said the van was brown.
I love witnesses sometimes.
But that gives us a bit of a time frame as well, that it was kind of earlier in the morning. But it was light out. It wasn't
dusk.
It was June, so it's not
dawn.
Yeah. And then a man later told authorities that he had seen a van matching the description that we've just talked about, that was being driven by a blonde woman. Well, it was parked in a grocery parking lot, but the woman behind the wheel was a blonde woman. And he wrote down the license plate number because for some reason he thought it was suspicious. This was before he knew that it was tied up in this disappearance. But he tossed the paper, he wrote the license plate number down before he contacted the police. And then he contacted the police. And then the police said, all right, well, we're going to hypnotize you then to find out what the license plate number was. And he was only able to recall three of the digits, the first 3 digits of the license plate. So those are some interesting, incredible tips.
Why in the hell do they hypnotize people?
Don't know.
Yeah.
It's just suggestion.
I know, it's bad.
Yeah,
it's
it
bad.
actually can introduce more unreliable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Every time it's like, what was it, the Ketty murders, when they hypnotized that one kid and
Yeah.
suddenly all this stuff comes out? It's like, what was the question you asked? Like, we never get to hear what the questions were specifically. It's just what the answers were.
Yeah.
Because they're leading you. I don't know if they are hugely leading.
Oh.
Yeah,
He didn't manage to hypnotize me. Maybe that's because he sucked and that's why his questions were so leading. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Well, you're on a soapbox already. Again, it's okay. Let's talk about theories.
I like
the theories.
And I just want to quickly do a little bit of a disclaimer. Some of the people we're going to talk about did some really horrible
Oh, yeah, there's some despicable
things.
folk.
And we're going to talk about it, not graphic detail, but some of our listeners are under
Wow.
15, so maybe close your ears.
Yeah,
Cool.
but most of our listeners are pretty tough.
Yeah, most of them. I just don't want you to
I just don't want to give
scarred
any
for
more
life.
10-year-old girls nightmares.
Yeah,
I
really.
still feel bad about that.
Yeah, me too. And there are literally no happy theories here. There's
They
no...
didn't run away and join the circus.
There's no one, I don't think, on this planet who believes that something good happened to these women.
No, it seems extremely unlikely.
Yeah. With that being said, let's go ahead and start into the theories. The brother...
This is our first suspect.
Yeah.
Our
his
first
name,
theory.
Yeah.
So that's
suspect. We're kinda
Susie's
doing-
brother.
Yeah, we're doing suspects as theories, I guess.
I don't think he was ever really a suspect, though, was he?
I
he was a
think-
person of interest.
I think he was a person of interest, and as soon as they actually interviewed him, they decided, oh, just keep it.
Yeah.
Fine. He did have a drinking problem, but then again, he was
I don't know
a
that he
dude
had
in
a
his
drinking
20s.
problem.
He drank.
He was a
Well,
20-something who drank too much.
I would say that he had a drinking problem in that he got really angry when he drank as much as he drank.
Oh, okay.
So I would qualify that as a drinking problem versus somebody who drinks a lot and is still you can hang out with them and that's fine,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the sad thing about it, is that
Yeah.
guy is kind of a rift in the family.
Yeah, it did. And he had recently gotten into a fight with his mother and sister.
Well, his sister used to live with him.
His sister used to live with him, and he got really angry and drunk one night, and they got in a huge fight, and so she left, and Susie and Cheryl had decided at that point that they would just no longer be in contact.
They were cutting him off.
Yeah, they were cutting him off, basically. He's, obviously, I don't think he's a real suspect at all. I think they looked into him because he was a male who was connected to the story. And he was an easy person to, say, well, it wasn't that person.
Well, it's people you look at first, his
Yeah.
family and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Family, ex-boyfriends, ex-girlfriends.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I saw an interview with him, and he did.
He didn't do it.
No, I
No.
don't think so.
It doesn't
No.
appear that way.
No,
No.
God, no. Next is the Mafia.
Yeah, I've
Apparently,
heard this
there are a
one.
lot of local rumors. I couldn't find anything
see this
to
one.
corroborate anything except for a bunch of people on either Reddit or Web Sleuth saying, "Well, I'm a local and I heard this."
Yeah.
Apparently, Cheryl's sister was involved in the mafia, and this was a mafia hit to hurt the sister. I don't.
Yeah.
So
I don't think so, because unless the mafia's changed, they used to have like kind of a code of ethics about stuff like this, about leaving the family out of things.
yeah, especially female members of family members.
Yeah.
And wait, what was Cheryl's last name?
Levitt.
Levitt. Yeah.
Well, no, her maiden name was.
It's not a very Italian-sounding name.
No, that's true.
I don't remember. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is either, because
I don't
you
know.
never see it used.
No.
But
I don't know that you're required to be Italian to be in the mob, though.
no, you're not. But I would think that someone to be in a place where we're gonna whack your family level of hit, you've got to be really deep in the family and probably grew up in it.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
I didn't get that impression at all from this single mom who's a hairdresser.
Yeah, she was a hairdresser. By the way, we didn't mention that she was a hairdresser.
Oh yeah, no, she totally had that burnt blonde
God, the hair.
90s hair. Both
the
of
hair,
them.
all three of them. The hair was just.
All three of them.
so
The
good.
entire town. The
Probably.
80s bangs. Wait,
Yeah.
They call it the Kansas clock.
Actually, I
No, seriously, it's what it's called.
think Kansas clock.
That
Oh, the Kansas claw.
dang thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, next, I guess, group of people is Dustin Rekla or Michael Clay or Joseph Rydell.
Or all three together.
Or all three together.
Some combination thereof.
So Dustin was actually Susie's boyfriend until about March of 1992. I'm guessing it was that. It's never like explicitly said, but she broke up with him after this thing that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
All three of these men were charged with.
And these were young men.
They were
so
young
like,
men. They were like 17 to 19. They were charged with felony institutional vandalism for breaking into a mausoleum on February 21st of 1992.
Yeah, classy guys.
Really classy.
Is that Valentine's Day?
No, fortunately. Oh, Steve.
Pretty close, though.
But oh, Steve.
I'm married. I don't have to worry about these things.
Oh, Steve. I don't know how long you're going to be married for.
I have Google Calendar. It tells me the important things I need to remember.
Yeah, better. So this was actually the reason that Susie broke up with Dustin. She apparently was hanging out with the boys and didn't know that that was the plan until suddenly she was there at a mausoleum and they were breaking into things.
And personally, I would not want to date a grave robber.
No,
myself.
me neither. So she broke up with him, and she provided a statement to the police, which was instrumental in the conviction of these three boys, men.
And they have, just to describe their crime a little bit more, they not only broke into the mausoleum, they took some skulls out of the mausoleum.
A bunch of skulls and some other skeleton bones.
Skeletal remains.
And Dustin actually sold 26 grams of gold fillings from the skulls at a local pawn shop, I believe. That's where he sold it.
Yeah.
And the dude who worked there was like, yeah, I'll buy them from you, but then I'm going to call the cops.
Yeah, because I'm sorry, but
What?
fillings are pretty damn obvious.
Fillings, and
Yeah.
also there were probably a few full-on gold teeth
Yeah,
in there.
probably.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
they look like teeth. They're
Yeah.
very obvious.
Although
Yeah.
it's a little surprising, because I thought that's what the people at the funeral homes did.
Yeah. I thought they pulled those before they buried people.
Yeah, that's
but
what I
hey,
thought,
there you
yeah.
go.
These were high-dollar
Yeah.
funeral directors.
Yeah, I guess.
None of those shenanigans.
Oh, no,
Well,
not
maybe-
in Springfield.
Maybe you get some sort of a special. You pay $500 more. We won't rob the corpse.
Maybe, yeah. Who knows? Around a lot that I think is like blown way out of proportion. But apparently, after the cops were called, they went to question Dustin. His sister answered. She didn't let them in, but they were able to see behind her that there were a lot of occult things, like a
Pentagram.
A pentagram.
And according to the Disappeared episode, red candles.
Yeah.
So that's.
And a candelabra.
I think that's so crazy blown out of proportion. Especially because they say, oh, when they came back the next day, Dustin was there and all the things were gone. And it's just kind of like, oh my God.
In
guys.
the early 90s, you gotta remember there was such a weird devil worship panic in this country, though. People were
Especially Springfield is like
It's
not.
kind of, you
I
know,
mean,
would you call it Central Midwest? Or,
Yeah.
I mean, it's in that Bible Belt to me.
kinda.
And there were, I mean, even where I lived in Oregon, there was a bit of that. Oh my gosh, don't do this. It's Satan
But also
worship.
in the 90s, right? That was like the start of the Hot Topic generation. You know,
Yes.
it's like you have both the goth Hot Topic kind of punk rocker kids growing up, as well as the people who are really scared of those
Mm-hmm.
people. And to have some red candles really means that you're dumb and shop at Spencer's more than it does you're worshiping the devil, but okay.
Yeah, and it probably wasn't some giant tapestry. It was probably a damn poster.
Yeah.
Held up with
Could have
bush
been.
bands.
It probably was a poster of like a band that just happened to
It was
have
a
pentagram on it.
Pantera
Yeah.
band poster
Something
or
like
something.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
you
would make
don't,
total sense.
Generally speaking, if you're worshiping the devil, you don't actually put obvious signs where they can be seen right from your front door.
Yeah, that's
you
the other part
Put
of
them in
it,
a back
right?
room or something like that.
Well, according to the local police, they always had signs that with an arrow that said devil worshipping this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the way they made it out to me is when I was that age.
So I don't think it was any of these boys, although apparently Dustin gave an interview in which he said he hoped the women were dead.
Well, he might have been upset with Susie.
I'm
for
sure he
ratting him
was.
out.
He had been
And
charged
that
at
was-
that point, I think.
And that was a pretty dumb thing to do. When they're like, hey, we're going to question you in conjunction with the disappearance of 3 women who are probably dead, for you to say, yeah, I hope they are. It's like, well, maybe that was a dumb choice, but I don't think anybody really thinks that he did it.
Did he say that after they had disappeared? Is that when he said
I
it?
thought so.
Okay. And
Yeah.
I believe that too, but
I thought
can-
he was being questioned in conjunction with. the
I see. I know that he did it in front of a. If I remember right,
It was
I thought
in
he
front
did
of a
it-
reporter.
It was in front of a reporter,
Yeah.
so I'm pretty sure he was at the courthouse. Probably had to go in for a hearing. He realizes he's gonna get the entire book thrown at him, and is furious and has to take it out on somebody.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Let's blame that bleep who turned me in. Let's say some really bad things about her. I think that's exactly what
I
this
agree.
idiot
I
did.
think that's what everybody thinks pretty much, but he's on the list of suspects.
'Cause he's
Slash
a
all 3 of
moron.
them.
Yeah, but yeah, again, grave robbing is bad, but
Bad.
it's not quite like
Yeah.
mass murder.
Yeah. So next is Larry Dwayne Hall.
This guy is weird.
Yeah.
He's kind of developmentally disabled, I think is the term.
Well, but he's creepy looking. I don't mean like,
He is
his
like,
mental faculty.
Like Charles
he just,
Manson, creepy looking.
Yes, I mean he's got the big mutton chops.
Yeah.
And
Well, because he was a Civil War reenactor. Right?
Yes!
With his twin.
yes, he's a twin.
Yeah, Gary and Larry.
Yeah, because parents, if you have twins, don't be so freaking cute to name your kids with rhyming similar
Yeah, because
names.
it's
That's just
extra creepy
rude.
when one of them ends up to be a psychopath.
Yeah, way to go. To,
Yeah.
making the normal one feel even weirder.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was, because, correct me if I'm wrong here, Joe, Gary was the normal one, and it was Larry who was born with the umbilical cord around his neck. Is that
This is what I heard, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
because that's he
So
had
is,
oxygen deprivation as a child.
Yeah, so he
He was a little.
So he was,
what did you call it? Disabled?
that might be an offensive term by now. I don't know. I apologize.
Microaggression.
I know. But anyway, yeah, so he was very low IQ. Or is, I should say.
Well, yeah.
And to the best of my knowledge, he's still alive, but in prison, of course.
Okay, so Devin, what's this guy? He was traveling in the area, right?
Yeah, right, for a recreation, wasn't it?
Well,
I thought there was like a bunch of happening.
Well, yeah, his because it was. Oh God, I'm gonna keep screwing their names up. Way to go, parents! I'm gonna keep complaining about
Larry
this family.
was the
Gary,
Okay.
the normal one, had gotten into Civil War reenactments, and he got Larry into it because Gary always had friends, and Larry was the one who sat in the corner by himself.
weird.
And he brought him to those, and he started making friends. And I know that, like, one of the reason that Larry really liked it is because he could grow the big mutton chops and hide the fact that he had really bad acne. Because if you see the pictures of him, they're massive mutton chops.
Oh yeah.
Like the size of Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that he was, obviously the guy had something wrong because he didn't shower all the time. Like, that was one of the reasons that people wouldn't hang out with him, is he didn't shower.
But if you're going to do a really realistic Civil War reenactment,
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Right, but
probably
you don't
should smell kind of bad.
You don't show up to the month ahead of time meeting stinking of your own filth.
You
No,
might.
probably, yeah.
Okay, well, okay, you're right. What was I thinking?
Obviously, Larry needed a caretaker.
But he got arrested in '93 for I believe it's the murder of Lori DePease.
Mm-hmm.
And he drove a van. Like, this guy, I really want it to be this guy because it makes it so easy.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that his mental faculties make it so hard to pin him down, because he had a van, he would pick up girls, and by his own admission, sometimes nothing happened, and he let them, he took them somewhere, or sometimes they didn't. Like, he coerced one lady to come to his van so he could show her a photo album of antique cars. Girls,
Like,
don't be nice to the
that's
guy who
dumb.
gives you the creeps. Like, don't go to his van.
Yeah.
Never. Like, even if he doesn't give you the creeps, because some of the people we're going to talk to, like, on the face value, if I didn't know their criminal history, I'd be like, yeah, maybe. I'd go to your van with you.
But as far
Don't
as-
ever go to somebody.
Child or
Or
an adult.
bicycle.
Never.
No,
Ever.
don't do it.
Yeah, I really want to see a van bike, though. You said
van bike?
bicycle. I
A
really
van
want
bike?
to see that.
Yeah. No, but as far as Hall goes, I can't believe he did it himself. If he had a partner, maybe somebody with a little more brains, then
Well, that's the
could
thing.
have
His
done
MO
it,
is he's suspected of abducting and possibly killing up to, what is it, 40 women?
Yeah.
Okay, but those are all one-offs.
Yeah.
Like, somebody caught his attention and he followed that person and then talked them into getting into the creepy van.
yeah.
And everything was okay.
And abducted them.
Yes.
Not, like, murdered and disappeared them forever.
And they were
them.
one-off, one at a time.
Yeah.
That's why it'd be so easy to pin it on this guy.
Yeah.
Because
but I
you
don't-
can tell he's got problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I think 3 women, as soon as things start to go bad, if you're not on top of it, there's going to be some fighting back.
Somebody's going to
probably.
get away.
It's actually, I really kind of think that it would be hard for one person to do this.
I agree.
Two guys with guns could do it quite easily.
Yeah.
One guy with a gun, I
Maybe.
suppose.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Larry, I know, according to some sources on the internet, could have been working in cahoots with his brother Gary, because some people say Gary was probably the one that was doing it.
That he was the mastermind and just blaming it.
Yes, and Larry, of course, just went along with it, not knowing any better, just admitted to what his brother told him to admit to.
Mm-hmm.
But Joe brings up a good point, and I want to ask this because I haven't seen this anywhere. Do any of our suspects, and I'm using air quotes on that, have they ever been known to work with a second or third party?
No.
Okay.
No, except for if it were the 3 boys.
That's
They
the
did
only
it all
one where
together.
there could have been. We've got a good idea of multiple.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Next up, Stephen Eugene Garrison.
You ever know serial killers always have this little name?
They always have 3
They always
names.
have 3 names.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. I mean, I understand if it's 3 first names because I've heard that before, but it's now they just used all of their names.
Yeah. Not
Because
always.
Stephen Eugene Garrison, those really aren't first names to me.
Yeah, I wonder.
Larry Dwayne Hall, not first names, all first names. Larry and Dwayne are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hall is not a first name.
Well, Dwayne, the way he spells it is dumb.
Dwayne.
Dwayne.
Dwayne. Yeah, but that's not unusual.
Yeah, no, that's
Spelling is not too terribly unusual.
Okay,
that's-
so Garrison is currently serving 40 years for raping, sodomizing, and terrorizing a female college student in the summer of 1993 in Springfield.
Nice guy.
He apparently
Region Party, evidently.
had air quote friend who was drunk at a party once, and this air quote friend confessed to killing the Springfield 3. And it's unclear if the police believe that this was an actual friend or if it was an air quote friend, as I've been referring to it as. He gave testimony. He said, hey, actually, I know something about the Springfield 3. I know about those missing women.
Did he? Was this in the context of he was already in prison, or he was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
this and friend? Is this in the context of I'm calling the radio or I'm going to the doctor to ask about this thing that my friend might
Well, that's why
have?
I say the
kind
air
of?
quote friend, and I
Okay.
don't know if the police believed that it was a friend that told him all this stuff, or if he was just he's
If it was
only
a
serving
scam.
40 years somehow for raping, sodomizing, and terrorizing a female. But hey, cool, he's gonna get out sometime in his life. So if he admitted to doing the Springfield 3, obviously he would never get out.
No.
He was able to provide information that was unknown to the public, and some of the information led investigators to serve 3 search warrants on a property that had been owned by a man named Francis Lee Robb Sr.
Is that the farm? One of the places I think I seem to remember them going to was, and doing multiple checks on was a farm. I don't know if